Press Center, where Mayor Ogidi is standing by to fill us in.
91%. The polling units that open between 8 a.m. and 8 a.m. So at this moment, we recorded a total of 92.76% of the polling units that opened. With regards to the challenges associated with the smart card reader in some polling units, most of these challenges were resolved and resolved on time. However, it is to be noted that in the regulations and guidelines issued by the Independent National Electoral Commission, it was made very clear that the use of the smart card reader is mandatory. Therefore, no staff of the Commission or any ad hoc staff of the Commission is permitted in whatever guise to deliberately refuse to use the smart card reader for the conduct of elections. According to the guidelines, according to the regulations and guidelines of the Commission, it is negligent conduct for any ad hoc staff to refuse to use the smart card reader for the process of accreditation or for purposes of accreditation. And any of them that refuse to use the smart card reader or deliberately violated the use of the smart card reader is subject to prosecution in accordance with the regulations and guidelines of the Commission and the Electoral Act. The Commission has also received reports of violence and ballot box snatching in some areas, leading to this disruption of the process. We have asked the resident electoral commissioners and the officials of the Commission on ground to submit their first-hand reports in relation to some of these incidents. We are still receiving reports relating to incidents in some states of the Federation, but we have received reports relating to incidents in Akukoturu and Boni local government areas of Rivers State. So long as the Commission could not deploy in these areas, the implication is that polls did not open in these areas. And the Commission will hold consultation with the relevant authorities and with the resident electoral commissioners in relation to these areas, and will announce the dates for the when polls will take place in some of these areas, especially in relation to the areas that may be affected as relates to the House of Representative elections and senatorial elections. So this, for now, amounts to the update we can give at this moment. And I will just take a few questions and head back to the situation room for us to continue with monitoring of the situation and consultation with the resident electoral commissioners and electoral officers and other INEC staff.
Okay, we'll just take 4 or 5 questions. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7. That's it. Please know your number. Number 1, please.
My name is Yolikari from Nigerian Parliament. There were reports that in some places in Lagos, election did not take place, that there were burning of electoral materials there. Can you confirm this concern?
Number 2.
Belongs to the Linda Hibe from Channels Television. In addition to what he said, we also got reports of burning of ballot papers in Onitsha and Anambra State. Is the Commission aware of this? And several reports of malfunctioning of smart card readers in some states.
Number 3.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes.
My name is Friday. I work with the Punch newspapers.
Yes.
I want to really be clear. Based on what the statement you made, referring to some areas in the River State, I'm sure it's just an example. Are you saying that actually those places where those lapses were noticed, election day did not go?
Okay.
And
Number 4.
when will it take place?
Number 4.
My name is
Continue, please.
My name is Mekan, and I report for Pilgrims. I want to find out the position of the commission. What do you do with the ballot papers at each polling unit after the election?
Number 5. Quickly now.
My name is Emmanuel. I want to know, apart from the place you mentioned in Rivers State, if there is any other place at which the commission is postponing election as of now. Thank you.
Number 6. Can't hear you.
My name is Abuja from Daily Trust. There were incidents of snap card in Taraba and some places in Oyo where they were still configured as February 16 and couldn't take place leading to violence. So what is the commission going to do about this? Secondly, there are some instances of other people who have their PVCs, their names were not on the register. There are 2 scenarios on this. Some of them saw their names when the voters register was earlier displayed, but today their names were not there, so they said. Some people said that their names were not on the register earlier, and they went to the commission offices to lodge complaint. Some of them put it into writing. They show my reporters across the state these evidences, yet their names were not on the register despite having PVC. What's going to happen to them? Thank you.
Thank you. Very loud.
Commissioner, sir, my name is Sunday Isua. I write for Leadership newspaper. I have 2 questions. The first one is in Kaduna State, specifically Angomboro, that there are polling units where over 5,000 voters actually turn out, and the voting materials as at 11:45 were only about 500. So we want to have more details on this. Then the second question is that in your earlier briefing, you told us about the states that got 100% compliance with the opening of the poll by 8 a.m. And if you go through these states, they are actually states controlled by the ruling party. And some weeks ago, the opposition raised some alarm over plans of delay of materials in their own state. Will this amount to complicity, or what actually happened? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll hear a response this time.
Thank you very much. In relation to the issue of burning of electoral materials and disruption of the electoral process, we have reports of some of these incidents from Anambra. As I pointed out, we have reports from Rivers, and we have reports from other states. But we have asked the resident electoral commissioners in some of these states to give us a report after confirming the authenticity of the reports from the relevant officers who are on ground. So the moment we get the verified reports from the resident electoral commissioners, we will take a decision in relation to some of these areas. But as I said, it's not only in Rivers that we had reports of violence. We had reports of burning of electro materials in Lagos. We had reports of burning of electro materials in some parts of Anambra State. We also had reports of violence in places like Rivers. So we are just waiting for reports. We need to clarify, we need to be sure about these reports before we take a final decision in relation to them. So what we are waiting for are the official reports from some of these states for us to take a decision in relation to them. When I briefed you in the morning, we did acknowledge that there were smart card reader malfunction in some polling units across the Federation. The registration area technical support staff of the Independent National Electoral Commission intervened in most of these challenges we have with the smart card readers. The reports we have is that they succeeded in resolving the challenges in most of the states. In any state where the smart card reader issue has not been resolved or was not resolved as at 2 p.m., the standard procedure, as we have in the regulations and guidelines, is that the elections will continue the following day. But we had said earlier in the morning that in all the places where polls started late, that the Commission has extended the time for closing of polls until every person who is on the queue has voted. And that's in most of the states, the resident electoral commissioners have passed this instruction down the line. And in most of the states, they are complying with this directive of the Commission. In relation to when the elections will take place, the moment we receive official report from the resident electoral commissioners in relation to what happened in each of the polling units, or what happened in the registration areas, or what happened in the local governments, we will take a decision after assessing the nature of the report and the nature of the incident that took place in those areas. Now, the standard procedure is that when polls are over and sorting and counting of votes have taken place, the presiding officer must cancel all the unused ballot papers for that particular polling unit, and also engage in what we call reverse logistics. The presiding officer must account for each material that was given, that was issued from the supervisory presiding officer. So all the unused ballot papers must be cancelled immediately after the conclusion of elections. On the issue of postponement, I think I have addressed them. In all the places where voting did not take place, we need to harvest the places where voting did not take place, and we are going to take a position as a commission in relation to those places. We also received reports of late commencement of polls in Kaduna, and we were in touch with the resident electoral commissioner, and as at 11, most of the challenges had been addressed. And if anyone has not been addressed, we are going to get official report from the resident electoral commissioner, and we will definitely address any of those challenges, any of those reports. I think that's it. So thank you very much. I'll go back to the situation room. If there's the need to come back and update you on a few issues, I will come back on. What's the issue?
They configured to say configured for the 16th. We haven't received they have a configured to 16th at 16.
Well, that's the situation for now from the International Conference.
Well, in relation to the smart card readers,
daily brief, in fact.
To the press, and to a large extent, awareness on the
Put the details to us, we will investigate and we will report back. Thank you. Leadership newspaper talked about a polling unit with over 5,000 registered voters, and they were issued with just 500 ballot papers. There is no polling unit in any part of Nigeria with a total of up to 5,000 registered voters as of today, unless you are talking about a conglomeration of polling units clustered in one area, because in some schools we have up to 10 polling units. If you are talking about the combination of 10 polling units in one place, that will be understandable. But in terms of one polling unit with over 5,000 registered voters, in the commission we don't have any such polling unit. But I've heard you, and I know the area you are talking about. We will also go and investigate, and then if there's the need to report back, we will report back. Thank you very much.
When you talk about systemic disenfranchisement of areas that are perceived to be opposition strongholds.
Now, I'm going to respond to that. Now, I have the percentages from the Electoral Operations Support Center of the Independent National Electoral Commission in relation to the opening of polls. Now, for Abia State, between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m., the percentage of polls stood at 83%. Adamawa State stood at 100% between 8 a.m. and 10. Akwa Ibom stood at 98%. Anambra stood at 100%. I'm coming. Because what I have here is the updated figure of the opening of polls from the Electoral Operations Support Center. Bauchi State stood between 8 and 10, stood at 100%. Bayelsa stood at 69%. Benue State stood at 100%. As at 8 to 10, we did not receive the figures in relation to Borno State. So between 8 and 10, we did not have the figure for Borno State. But after 10, we recorded the figure for Borno State to stand at 71%. For Cross River, between 8 and 10, we did not have the figure for Cross River. But after 10, we had the figure for Cross River, which stood at 100%. For Delta State, between 8 and 10, the figure stood at 92%. For Ebonyi State, between 8 and 10, the figure stood at 100%. For Edo State, between 8 and 10, the figure stood at 100%. For Ekiti, we did not have the figure between 8 and 10. For Enugu, we didn't have the figure as at that time. For Gombe, the figure stood at 94%. So from the figures I have given, you can see that the opening of poll varies, and there is no, you cannot really pinpoint, because I know that the places I have just read out is not controlled by one political party, is controlled by almost three political parties, different political parties. So I don't think that in terms of the issues you are asserting, I don't think that that is correct. So what I have here is the updated figure from the Electoral Operations Support Center of the Independent National Electoral Commission. What I gave to you in the morning was just an interim report of what we had harvested as at that particular time. Some states were late in reporting the opening of polls, while some states were very, very proactive. So what I have given you now is the updated report in relation to the opening of polls in different parts of the country. I will address that when I come back.
We'll let you know.
We are here together. We are not going. All of us are here together. So nobody is going anywhere. When you see me, you see me. If you don't see me, you don't see me. But you are here and I'm here. If there are any issues, I will come back and address those issues. In fact, the microphone has switched off.
Mayor Ogidi is a correspondent there at the ICC. Let's hear from him, then we'll get back to other issues that are of concern to us as well. Okay.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is given today as the elections continue. In the early hours of, about 12 noon, the INEC briefed Nigerians of the extension of 1 hour of voting. Now they have just briefed us of violence being recorded in some parts of the country, specifically Rivers State, Bonny and Akukutoro local government areas of Rivers State, where cases of violence were reported. However, it was not only in Rivers State, Lagos and Anambra were also included of cases of violence. But specifically on that of Rivers State, the INEC National Commissioner in charge of Information and Voter Education, Festus Okoye, told us that they will hold meeting with stakeholders in the affected areas in both Rivers State, and probably the elections will be rescheduled on the affected areas. And they also sounded a note of warning to their staff, their ad hoc staff, who may deliberately not use smart card readers. They will be prosecuted, except cogent and verifiable reasons are given on why they did not use the smart card readers. And he also told us that the commission is yet, the commission is yet to tell Nigerians when the voting will officially close. So as of now, the chart on the voting is still rising. I will be updating you as events unfold at the International Conference Center in Abuja, venue for the collation of the 2019 presidential elections. I remain Mayor Ogidi.